My name is Olivia. I'm sitting in the living room of the ranch house, the room filled with a tense silence. The lawyer, M.S. Harper, is about to read the will of my grandfather, Mr.
Thompson.
My parents, Linda and David, and my older brother, Ethan, are here, their faces a mix of expectation and greed. As M.S. Harper begins to read, I can feel the weight of the moment. The trust, which my grandfather had painstakingly set up over the years, is about to be revealed. When she announces that all the trust assets, including the 1,200-acre ranch, the water rights, and the 15 patents worth over $15 million are to be distributed solely to me, I see my mother's face turn ashen. It's a moment of pure shock and disbelief for them. My mind drifts back to the day I was 10 years old. My parents, Linda and David, were always more concerned with their own lives and financial troubles. Linda was a vain and materialistic woman, always chasing the next big thing. David, on the other hand, was a man who made poor business decisions and was constantly in debt. They drove me from our home in the city to my grandfather's ranch in the countryside. The journey was long and silent. Linda sat in the front, scrolling through her expensive designer magazine, while David drove with a look of annoyance on his face. When we finally reached the ranch, Linda barely looked at me. Your grandpa has a big place. You'll be fine here, she said, as if getting rid of a burden. David carried my small suitcase to the porch and dropped it, not even bothering to give me a hug. I stood there, watching their car drive away, the sound of the gravel under the tires echoing in my ears. My grandfather, Mr. Thompson, was a tall, rugged man in his 72s. He had a thick white beard and kind, deep-set eyes. He didn't say much as he stood in the doorway. Can you carry that up to your room? He asked. I nodded, and he showed me to a room at the top of the stairs. It smelled of old wood and hay, but it felt like a new beginning. The workshop behind the barn became my second home. It was filled with tools neatly arranged on pegboard walls. My grandfather taught me everything from using a torque wrench to soldering circuit boards. He was a former mechanical engineer who had retired to the ranch. He held patents on innovative farming equipment that were used across the region. But he never flaunted his wealth. He drove an old pickup truck and wore simple work clothes. Over the years, I learned to take care of the horses, repair fences, and maintain the irrigation system. I was 13 when I learned to shoe a horse, and at 14, my grandfather and I rebuilt the old windmill behind the barn. It was a long-term project that taught me about engineering principles and the importance of hard work. My parents called maybe a couple of times a year. Linda would ask about the ranch's finances, as if she was already eyeing the money. David would just ask if I was being good for my grandfather. Once, for my 16th birthday, they promised to come visit. I cleaned the guest room and was excited to see them. But they never showed up, and Linda left a voicemail saying David's business deal had gone wrong. My grandfather was angry. Don't promise something you can't deliver, he said on the phone, and that was the most I ever heard him say about my parents. I graduated from high school with a 3.8 GPA and got a full scholarship to a top engineering university. My grandfather drove me to campus. He carried my bag into the dorm room, looked around and said, "The place is solid. You'll do well." It was his way of saying goodbye. During my freshman year, I noticed my grandfather's health deteriorating. His coughs became more frequent, and his voice grew weaker. I came home during winter break and saw that the ranch was in need of maintenance. Gates were broken, and the barn roof was leaking. I moved back into my old room and started fixing things. My grandfather tried to tell me to take it easy, but I was determined to help. One evening in the workshop, he showed me the iron ring on his right hand. This was my father's. He was a blacksmith. He said, "Keep what matters. Let the rest go," he told me. He explained that the Ashford family, our family, kept their word and what they built. You don't inherit a thing. You earn the right to keep it, he said. My grandfather passed away in November. I was in the kitchen when I heard the silence, the absence of his constant cough. I found him in his recliner, peaceful. I took the ring from his finger. It was warm, and the inscription "Thompson Keeps" caught the light. A few days later, my parents and brother arrived at the ranch. They were dressed in expensive suits, but I could see the desperation in their eyes. Linda immediately started asking about the estate. There's an attorney handling it, I told her. Yes. Harper, the attorney, drove out to the ranch the next day. She gave me an envelope from my grandfather. Inside were 3 sentences. Stay calm. Let them talk. The paperwork already speaks. On the day of the will reading, my parents and brother were full of expectations. They thought they were entitled to the fortune. But my grandfather had planned well. The trust clearly stated that they were excluded due to their neglect of me over the years. Linda's composure cracked when she realized she had lost. This is insane. She was nothing when she came here, she shouted. But I just sat there, with the ring on my thumb, and remembered my grandfather's words. After the reading, my parents' attorney knew there was no way to contest the will. The no contest clause, along with the cognitive evaluations and witness attestations, made it impossible. They left the ranch, defeated. I decided to keep the ranch running. I hired more hands and a part-time vet. I finished my engineering degree remotely and launched my own company from the workshop. A year and a half later, I established the Thompson Hope Foundation, which provides support to young people in difficult situations, just like I was once in. My grandfather never gave me a fortune, but he gave me the most valuable thing, the knowledge and determination to earn what I have. And I will always carry the legacy of the Thompson name with pride.